Hello everyone, Tactical Lich here, and welcome back to another Total Warhammer multiplayer battle. Today we are checking out the Chariots because in the recent patch, it is said that the Chariots have been secretly buffed. So we'll be trying these units out. Today we are fielding two Chaos Chariots of Khorne, led by Valkyr the Bloody, coming in with Spear of Sleipnir and the Demon Shield. For the rest of the army, a front line of Marauders, dual weapons, and regular variants mixed in together, and on the flanks a ton of mobility, regular Khorne Dogs, the Flesh Hounds of Khorne, and in the skies, Chaos Furies of Khorne, and then a couple Marauder Horsemen of Khorne with throwing axes. Same goes for the other side. As for the Empire formations, we have the Sigma Sons holding the line with Sterling's Revenge, Free Company Militia in the front line. Very strange. And on the flanks there, we have some spears with shields, and at the back, a ton of missiles, archers, silver bullets with their armor-piercing magical handguns, and at the back, Sunmaker, protected by a halberdier unit, and the Demigryph Knights with halberds. In the front side, we have some skirmishing forces, the war wagons, and leading the army, we have Boris Todbringer, supported by a Grey Wizard. He's only bringing Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, and that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. Normally, I'm a big fan of the Sunmaker with its devastating firepower, able to clear out swaths of enemy infantry, but this time I'm on the receiving end of things, so this rocket barrage would be something I have to deal with eventually. Anyways, my mobility will be moving up on the flanks, getting into flanking position given my opponent isn't going for a full box build. I do have quite a bit of space for exploiting my opponent's formations. You can see that there are a lot of gaps here where I can slip in my mobility. Chaos Warhounds are already bounding forward while the War Wagons over here poking shots at Valkyr. Although thankfully Valkyr do have quite a small unit model profile, so she doesn't really take that much missile damage. Anyways, in the front line, the Chaos Warhounds got caught by a Malkov's Mystifying Miasma, getting slowed down and shot in the face by a bunch of Sterling's Revenge and archers, and will be pushed off promptly. My Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons are also being broken off, and at the same time, the Chaos Furies trying desperately to dive into the back line and shut down the Sunmaker. They'll be receiving a barrage of enemy archer fire, and that would be quite painful for them. Anyways, in the front line, the Chaos Chariots of Khorne are moving in and delivering a devastating charge onto the Sterling's Revenge. A quarter of their HP is already gone, and soon they'll be moving on to the next unit. In the front line, everything is clashing. Marauders fighting against Sigma Sons, although these ones are kind of lagging behind and they need to charge in as soon as possible. I was able to rout off the archers and silence the Sunmaker with my mobility, while here comes another charge from the Chaos Chariots going after the silver bullets, and you can see there 1/3 of the unit is gone and their leadership is quickly dipping. With the help of my hounds and Marauder horsemen, all my opponent's missile troops have stopped firing. Not even the Free Company Militia here are firing much. A Spear of Sleipnir going down on the Sigma Sons. They are unbreakable, so eventually I have to deal with them. Might as well use something to weaken them before I need to fight them in melee. The Sunmaker somehow was still firing a volley, routing off the Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons, and with the Sunmaker crew routed, I decided to move these Chaos Warhounds out and go after the Free Company Militia who are still firing. The Flesh Hounds are still here, quite healthy actually, while the Marauders Horsemen of Khorne are chucking their throwing axes at whatever they can find right now. For example, the War Wagons, who is sitting a little bit too static here, not kiting at all, and just trading blows against the armor-piercing Marauder horses. In the sky there, Valkyr the Bloody is fighting against Boris Todbringer. With the Horn of Khorne boosting her melee attack, she actually trades fairly well into Boris Todbringer despite his regeneration. On top of that, Boris, without any help, just doesn't have the best dueling melee stats. Valkyr having a whopping 80 melee attack with the Horn of Khorne and 55 melee defense plus anti-large bonus. Boris with only 47 melee attack, 35 melee defense without any debuffs and buffs to help him. He is losing this fight decisively. Demigryph Knights with halberds desperately trying to chase off all my mobility, but is now falling victim to the armor-piercing throwing axes. Some of my routed Marauders have regrouped around the battlefield. The dual weapons one are chasing off the Sterling's Revenge, while Boris has been pushed back. A little bit of Melkovs from our opponent, trying to slow down Valkyria the Bloody, preventing her from catching up with Boris, while the Demigryph Knights will be charging down my Marauders of Khorne. Now let's check back the Chariots and see what they're up to. It seems that both of the Chariots are running down some scattered archers. At this point, my opponent's army is all over the battlefield. I might as well use my mobility advantage to run down the routed units, making sure they're never coming back. With all the missile units gone, including the war wagons, my opponent has lost the ability to kill off my army and has decided to throw in the towel. GG to my opponent there. Not gonna lie, this battle isn't the most exciting one because after all, this is just a random match on ranked multiplayer. I was just trying to test out the Chaos Chariots, and as you saw in the battle, their charge impact actually does something. Before the fix, their charge does very minimal impact damage, doesn't really quite worth their cost, but this time with the fix they actually run down enemy troops, plowing through their formations, doing some pretty good damage on the charge. For the rest of the army here, I was just using the mobility to overwhelm their missile troops, and of course some of these Marauder horsemen was able to trade against the war wagons with their armor piercing throwing axes. The other mobility and the infantry didn't really do that much work. Some of them managed to get on the routing missile units and did some pretty good damage. Valkyria the Bloody traded well against Boris Todbringer on his Griffin, so did some pretty good damage overall. For the Empire, this missile heavy formation is definitely not great for a fight against Khorne. As you can see, the Sunmaker, Sterling's Revenge, and the Silver Bullets really couldn't earn back their worth with so much stuff overwhelming their position, while the War Wagons were not in a favorable trade against the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. The rest of the army also didn't really do that much here since they're just state troops, and the characters also didn't get any favorable trades, especially the shadow magic here, mostly mitigated by the spell resistance of Khorne. And yeah, that's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more Total War Warhammer multiplayer action, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich signing out.